It's 1848. Thousands leave their homes in a desperate attempt to change their destiny, to build a new life. Some of them will never return. Some of them might succeed. But what is it that they chase? Is it an opportunity, one that will grant them fortune and everlasting freedom? Or is it a trap, one that will eventually leave them in ruin? Today, the landscape is digital. The promise is the same. This is the gold rush of the 21st century. The 21st century gold rush doesn't begin with a shovel. It starts with a scroll. Across platforms, a new language of wealth has emerged. Content creators, crypto enthusiasts, dropshippers, coaches, all promising modern gold. The pitch is simple. You don't need a degree, you just need Wi-Fi. And for millions, it's compelling. When the old paths feel broken, making money online and earning money from anywhere doesn't feel like a dream. It can feel like a necessity, the only way out. Tens, if not hundreds of millions of people worldwide attempted to build income through digital entrepreneurship. YouTube channels, online stores, freelance platforms, AI content, crypto tokens. But like any rush, most begin without a map. And what fuels that jump? Not common sense or logic, but rather emotion. Every gold rush of that sort creates an industry around it. In the 1800s, it was shovels, tents, and railroads. Today, it's ebooks, coaching programs, and monetized advice. The rise of the digital economy brought something remarkable, a world where information could be shared instantly and globally. But with that came a new marketplace, not just of ideas, but of urgency. Much of the marketing today doesn't sell a skill, it sells a feeling. Speed, certainty, escape. And in a time where economic anxiety is high and traditional careers feel brittle, that pitch works. Not because it's logical or because it makes sense, but because it's emotional. In this environment, decisions often aren't made through strategy, but through pressure. Everyone is doing it. Time is running out. The consumer behavior is rarely random because it follows a clear emotional cycle. It's a cycle of constant pivoting from one model to another, from platform to platform, but the outcomes are often the same. Frustration leads to discovery. Discovery leads to hope. Hope leads to urgency. And that leads to disappointment, which leads to a complete restart. Each new model seems like the model. Print on demand, dropshipping, crypto, AI automation, SMMA, advertising, drop servicing, trading. You've heard them all promoted as fast, simple, scalable, easy to learn. But in practice, most people find themselves switching strategies more often than executing them. It's rarely a lack of ambition. More often, it's a misalignment between emotion and execution. And studies have consistently shown that emotional decision-making increases financial risk, especially when influenced by perceived peer success. Social media amplifies not just outcomes, but illusions of outcomes. You're not just seeing success, you're seeing highlighted success, repeatedly and without context. The effect? Perceived ubiquity. It starts to feel like everyone else is winning, and you're the only one stuck. In that headspace, the decision to spend $200 on a new course or to abandon your current path for something newer doesn't feel risky. It feels necessary, and it's not unique to this generation. It's just that it's more visible and more scalable than ever before. It's not a scam, It's not even always misleading, but it's a system that rewards emotion and punishes patience. And that system scales incredibly well. In a gold rush, it's easy to believe you're one move away from a breakthrough, but when you're caught in emotion, your thoughts are clouded by the absence of reason. History rarely remembers the majority of those who chased gold. It remembers the systems that were built because of the chase. In the midst of the frenzy, while most were fixated on the gold beneath the ground, others focused on the gold hidden in the crowd. They built railways to move the crowds. They sold tools to the miners. They acquired land, opened supply stores, and organized freight. They didn't strike gold, they just built around it. And that principle hasn't changed. Only the landscape has. But quietly, another pattern repeats. The ones who thrive long term aren't always chasing the trend. They're just building foundations while others jump from one promise to another. These people don't ignore emotion. They observe it in themselves and in the market. But their decisions are routed through something less exciting for some. Strategy. Because emotion, while powerful, has one fatal flaw. It doesn't scale. It burns fast. It clouds clarity. And when left unchecked, it turns ambition into addiction, not action. Logic doesn't erase emotion. No, but it tempers it. It filters it. It replaces panic with planning, comparison with focus, impulse with intent. That shift is subtle, almost invisible in the short term, but over time the difference compounds with all the right decisions you do. Where emotional creators jump between unfinished projects, rational builders create systems they can sustain. Where hype goes down, their structure stays up. When others burn out, they scale. There's a reason most online success stories, at least the real ones, can sound almost boring. They aren't necessarily the loudest voices. They aren't always viral, but they endure. And endurance in this economy, is everything. Letting logic lead isn't glamorous. It doesn't guarantee instant growth or overnight wins, but it limits collapse. It manages risk. It buys time. Time to iterate, time to adapt, time to think before reacting. Because in a space driven by speed and visibility, the real advantage lies in resisting the urge to chase every spike. The gold rush never truly ended. It just changed form. It moved from the hills of California to the feeds of Instagram, from muddy boots and pickaxes to screens, funnels, and side hustles. But the human impulse to chase, to escape, to win fast stayed the same. And just like before, most will walk away with less than they came for. Not because they lacked ambition, but because they followed emotion into places where logic never had a map. The 21st century didn't invent the rush. It just made it global, louder, faster, and more invisible. But for those who can slow down long enough to see the pattern, to build while others scrambled, to think when others react, the real gold still exists. Not in the noise, but in the structure behind it.